Hello, my friends. We're here with our buddy Frank and our other friends from the tribe of Praizion, PMP, and CAPM and ACP. And today, Frank is going to share with us his lessons learned because he's now an ACP. Woo! Frank, how you feel, man?
I'm kind of fulfilled.
Good. Are you still in a daze? Because I remember when you got PMP certified, we were encouraging you to jump on the horse and come with us, Frank. And you did. I was really elated when you did, but it seems like yesterday, it just seems like it was yesterday when I was saying, Frank, don't, strike while the iron is hot. And here you are as an ACP. That's crazy. Honestly, it's crazy to me. So Frank, tell us, what catapulted you into ACP? Did you really give it a lot of thought, or did you just listen to your buddy Phil? What happened? Tell us.
Yeah, like I did mention to you that I want to go into program management, and PMP became the stepping stone. And I also told you that because I'm already within the Agile space, I would like to also take a deep dive into Agile. So the day I did the PMP, October 29, was actually the day the class of ACP started.
Wow.
So after the exam, I spoke with you, and he said, I said I will wait for the next class. He said, no, that you believe I should be able to catch up. I said, provided I don't get myself pressured, I've had enough pressure from PMP. So he said, no, that I should be good, so that you know that I can pull it through. So that encouragement did spur me into action, and I registered. Started with Chandra and Taji.
Yeah.
And it was a nice sessions we had with you and Roy.
And Roy, buddy Roy.
Excellent delivery of the Agile principles and mindset, the value-driven delivery, the continuous improvement, stakeholder engagement, and all those adaptive planning and the problem detection and resolution, all those areas that the ACP doers on. So we had a good delivery from you guys. We can't thank you guys enough for a well-tailored materials that you gave us. It was quite bespoke. And like you know me, during the PMP, I restricted myself to your materials. I didn't go after their materials, and something happened in the ACP. I didn't go after their materials. I'm scared of voluminous books, so so I want to restrict myself to what you have been given. So
That's smart.
I'll see how I will do it, and I try not to miss class, like you know, and at the end of it all, Taji wrote the exam passed, Chandra wrote passed, and I said to myself, I shouldn't be the odd man out. So in the class of 3, so I shouldn't be the odd man out. So to the glory of God, I gave it a stab, and I managed to scale through.
You did it. You didn't just scale. You did it, Frank. I'm telling you, you did it. It's no joke to get done. You barely catch your breath from PMP. And this crazy instructor says, you need to be on the next class. The reason why I did that, Frank, I didn't want you to lose momentum. And I did want to see your success. And I knew you could pull it off. Because truth be told, you already have significant experience in Agile, right? You work in an environment that is Scrum driven, and you also have a CSM and you have a CSPO, right? Certified Scrum Product Owner. So I knew that you had the aptitude, and I know that you're really hungry for Agile. You got a voracious Agile appetite, from my experience at least. I saw the kind of questions you're asking Roy, and that further confirmed, like, yeah, Frank is in the right place. So I'm really excited, and I know it's your certification, but I feel it's ours as well as a team. Frank, let's take a look at this. So we got these 7 domains. Let's be honest and talk about PMP versus this. Do you think someone can survive off the PMP floor, jumping into this without some further oomph?
Not at all. I don't think so, because this is ACP is strictly agile. The level of agile content in PMP isn't, the depth isn't much compared to ACP. So you might want to look at it from PMP being the first derivative and the ACP being the second derivative. You are using your divide the X, right? So, you need to do a deeper dive into agile in the ACP. And if you do not have classes like what you and Roy have, you might as well find yourself winking in the dark. You need to have a guided and measured approach in tackling the exam. And you can ask for a better resource than Roy and your good self. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And after my PMP, I was talking with the friend that is here today, Toby, and she said, you have a lot of time in your hand. Why don't you go to another exam? You know? So that also spurred me into the ACP. So
that's
so
fun.
I thank all the community of stakeholders.
Yes, absolutely. That was wise counsel.
Yeah, all the time when I have with the Covin, Cynthia, Loveless, we are religiously following daily Scrum in the evening.
It
was a good knowledge sharing sessions. It impacted tremendously.
Lovely, lovely. So tell us, Frank, let's go through these really quick. So if you're going to say one of these stood out on the ACP more than others, which one would it be? Was there one that stood out more?
I would say more of the value-driven and stakeholder engagement team. Those 2, 3, 4, and 1.
Wow. 2, 3, 4.
2, 3, 4, 1. Then you now go to continuous improvement.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So PMI were kind of accurate in saying this. Would you say? Kind of.
Yeah, I would say because when you look at the way the question comes, the agile principles and mindset is the bedrock, right? When you have that bedrock, and you begin to see every other question, value-driven, stakeholder engagement, team performance, problems of everything now, everything is driven by that mindset.
That's right.
So you can comfortably conclude that that agile principle and mindset is the fulcrum upon which every other one there revolves.
That's a good visual. I like that. Frank, were you a physics major in school?
I wasn't that brilliant.
What did you study? I know you're in banking, but what was your main in college? Remind me.
Okay, in secondary school, I was a science student, so I did physics, chemistry, biology, those ones, and in the university, I did accounting and finance.
Accounting, that makes sense.
Accounting and finance.
Good, and finance, yeah.
So any physics time I use is what I did in high school.
Well, your fulcrum and derivative examples are just classic.
Derivative I did in finance.
Okay.
I did in finance, and part of it in additional mathematics in the high school.
Oh yes, I
don't know what you guys call it in North America, but in Nigeria we call it additional mathematics.
In America,
statistics.
What do they call it, Lovelace?
Statistics.
Statistics.
Derivatives are in statistics. Well, I guess they're in finance too. So you're right.
Okay. So Frank, based on what you now know about the exam, you had the book that your buddy Phil and Roy wrote for ACP and Agile. So, but that one, people who do PMP, they didn't get this book. We didn't burden them with this book. It's that one that has a black and white. We just use a different cover for this one. But
Mhm.
then you also have PMI's Agile Practice Guide. Did you read this one for your ACP at all? Did you dabble into it for your ACP?
So because I read it in PMP, I didn't read it, but I had the Edge read it out to me.
Got okay. Edge, okay. So Frank, look, the back of this book, it has a lot of stuff that makes people nervous. Let me read some of the titles or the topics that are here. And right off, I'll just read them off head for now. So there's the Agile radar charts that people look at and they're scared. There is talk about discipline Agile. There's talk about Scrum of Scrums, DSDM, AUP, feature-driven development, FDD, Scrumban, Crystal, my buddy Alistair, his little invention there, and Scrum, of course, extreme programming, and Kanban. So out of all the things I rattled off, which of those like stood out as being worthy of mention on the ACP?
Yeah, certainly Scrum, which is the most popular framework of Agile. Kanban comes in, and you have Scrum at scale, all those Scrum of Scrum. So all those FDD,
FDD, ATDD,
those,
BDD,
those
Crystal.
I'm not sure I did come across them, except some questions that has to do with test cases and all those.
Okay. Okay.
How they are doing the test-driven delivery, and what would be the best way to approach your testing, all those kind of
Okay.
things.
Okay.
Other than that, those were just pockets of questions.
Yeah, tiny little pockets. Okay. Okay. That's good. So Frank, for someone who is a PMP now and is on the sideline saying, I'm scared of this exam. I want to spend another 1 year before I get into it. What advice would you have for those kind of people?
Yeah, the advice will just to piggyback on what you said, hit the iron while it is hot to get the shape you want. So if you go cold, you become dusty or rusty, and you might as well start afresh.
Oh dear.
So it's better to sustain the momentum and see if you can get everything out of the way and seek a new boss.
Oh dear, it's funny. So Frank, when we are having our next class, I hope you know, as one of our major shareholders, you're going to have to come back and you're going to have to talk to the next audience again. And we'll love to see you and Taji and Chandra come back and help our friends. So we have 6 friends who are currently on our program trying to get done. Would you be interested in mentoring any of them when you have time? I'm not saying like daily, but would that be something you could do?
Yeah, I feel we rise by lifting others, right? So we help one another. I am at your beck and call. Anything you want me to do, just say it. It will be
Thank
done.
you.
So, and even the PMI have a section of the PDU that is giving back, right? So,
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Thank you, Frank.
we are here. We are community. You know, you said the tribe of the Praizion. So, so that tribe must continue to grow in droves.
Absolutely. Thank you, Frank. The final question here is with regards to this process of the PMP versus the one of the ACP. So for the PMP, a lot of the questions are scenario driven, and whether they are process or people or business, it's all scenario. Was that kind of the same way the ACP was? Was it more people driven or more process driven? What would you say?
It's more people. More people. I think PMI has come to the conclusion, based on my experience with PMP and the PMI, I think they have come to the conclusion that people is the defining factor in project management. So, so a lot of questions centers on people, because if you look at communication, you're communicating with people.
Yeah.
Stakeholder engagement, you're communicating with people.
True.
Team performance, people.
True.
So you find out that people have become the
Mm.
fabric that cuts across,
Mm.
upon which every other person steps on. So the questions were pretty much people driven.
People, gotcha. And
People
as
driven.
far as if you're going to give it like I asked Lovelace in our previous session, what titration would it be? Would it be a 50-50 people process 50-50, or would it be more like 60-40 or 70-30? What would you say?
I think people will take up to 60%.
Okay.
Minimum.
Okay. That's
Minimum. Then the 40% will split towards the process and its siblings.
good. Siblings. Oh dear, Frank, you crack me up. Good. I like the way you put things. Okay, good. So Frank, on the exam, did they give you a break, like a mandatory break or like a?
No, there was no mandatory break, but break was allowed at your time.
Oh, your own expense.
So yeah, I didn't take that. I didn't take any break at all because. But one thing I did was that 1 minute per question I did in PMP, I did it something in ACP. So at the end of the questions, I had over 40 minutes.
Okay.
So I used like 20 minutes to review my flagged questions.
Okay.
So after that, I submitted. So I submitted more than 20 minutes for the time.
Wow. Good. Okay.
And
So
I was just waiting for anything to happen. I was already with that pass of fail.
Look at you. Oh dear. So Frank, you've already answered some of these questions. Why ACP, you've answered it. What you did leading up to the course, you got PMP, of course. Online course experience with Roy, you've already talked about that. But let's talk about Frank's top tips. Give us any top tips for an ACP student, someone who is just getting into it or thinking of doing it. What will your top tips be?
My top tip would be first, listen to Roy and Phil and restrict yourself to their materials. Because you know that too many cooks spoil the broth, right? So
True.
when you go get material here, read here, you might have conflicting perspectives.
You're right. You're very correct. Yeah.
Because even in the internet, if you put Google now, you will see so many things on a particular topic. So you get confused. I was lucky to have located you without anybody pointing me to you. I think that was grace of God. Through my research on internet, YouTube, I saw you, listened to you. I just opposed you with other people I listened to, and I said, no, this is the man. So that was it. So I believe that your material, your class, will suffice for anyone that want to write the exam.
Thank you, Frank. Any other tip?
Well, I don't know if I would say dedicated reading because I didn't dedicate.
Dedicated
study, right? So
studying. And I know that
I didn't much study because I was using Edge. So for Agile Practice Guide, I didn't read it again. I listened to it using Edge, do that for me.
Okay.
But during the PMP, I read it twice. So.
And you did come for some of the study groups with Taji and Chandra, right? You had some of those study sessions. So.
Yes, we had it. We are doing practice questions and identifying gaps, plugging the gaps. Those were quite helpful.
Gotcha. Good. So overall, because you had such a great foundation, not only in CSM and CSPO, you also had a very firm foundation of Agile in our masterclass. And it seems like that just took away a lot of need for, opening up so many books. I mean, you use Edge to read that to you, and then you had this book Roy and I kind of wrote, but you already had a solid foundation. So I think you were pretty much wired for that general body of knowledge. As far as the deep dives, we did those in class with Roy. So those classes definitely did pay off, as well as the study groups. Let me ask my friends if they got any questions for you.
Yeah, Phil, one of the things I have I was surprised with that exam, that ACP. Even though I was hoping to pass, but at the end of the day, out of the 7 areas, the PMI said that I had above target in 6, except 1. So I didn't know how that happened. I wasn't expecting. I was just hoping to be on target.
Mm.
So I can just have what we call in Nigeria, let my go.
Let my people go. Oh dear. Well, the irony of the exam is a lot of times it has to do with other factors beyond your control. There's no one who's going to tell me Frank doesn't know about this area or that area. Of course you do. But sometimes the exam just spits out, case in point, I took a CAPM exam. I've taken CAPM twice. One of the CAPMs I took, I got above target in everything, except that area, just like you. Are you telling me I don't understand the power interest grid? I don't understand the influence impact grid? I'm like, PMI, thank you. Bye. Bye. So a lot of times when we do these exams, no, but in all honesty, I did not study for the exam. I just went in and took it. And there was one question that I feel was what tripped me up in that area. It's funny, but I think maybe some of the questions are weighted more than others. There's a question that was very finicky about authority versus influence. And the question had to do a little bit more with the salience model and the power interest grid. And it was a play on words. And I knew that that question probably is what hacked me at the knees, because, it's very strange that every other area I'd get above, so don't think too much of it, Frank. You just do a search within yourself. Do I really understand this area? If the answer is yes, then proceed, proceed to collect 100 or whatever.
I guess so. The only thing that sometimes some of the questions look alike.
Yes.
The options look alike.
Yes.
You get drawn between 2 best options. So it's okay. I'll just take my chance.
Yeah, absolutely.
The way we do it in the classes. So
yeah, absolutely. But the bottom line, Frank, is showing proficiency to the point where one gets over that line, because PMI is saying this is the line where everyone is divided. You have those people who are going forward, and you have those people who PMI says, no, you can't pass our filter at a minimum, you should. So that's okay, and I respect that, and I don't begrudge PMI for it. But as far as passing an exam, you just need to celebrate and say, thank goodness I'm done. Sometimes the exam is kind of strange, a little bit weirder than we would have thought. Let me give you another case in point. This is preaching to the choir because you already know this, Frank. But I had a student who failed the exam on a Tuesday, didn't do much work, went home, ate, drank, and was married. Showed up on Saturday. All this student did was listen to my mindset and went in on Saturday, and that was it. Didn't do anything else other than read, just listen to Phil's mindset. And he went in and killed it.
Yeah, the mindset is very critical.
It is. So it's just a tiny little mental adjustment sometimes that helps us get on point. But either way,
that picture you showed there, how did you do it? It looks like the way you did it. It looks nice.
It's magic. It's PMP magic. This is what PMI gives you when you become a PMP. You have it as well. You just need to find it.
You're right.
Oh dear. There are many AI algorithms that do it. So this one's very easy. It's on the PowerPoint. So just look for art effects, and you end up looking like one of these Andy Warhol paintings. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Frank. Any questions for our buddy Frank? Lovelace, Mark, anyone else got any questions for our buddy?
Frank,
congratulations.
Yes, first and foremost, excuse me, congratulations. I am just a programmed waterfall person, which is a big problem for me because I've been doing it one way too long. I'm starting to get into the mindset and the mantra now that Phil has provided us with. I know you're an Agile guy, and the 2 things I was wondering about with the ACP is, one, how long is the test in comparison to the PMP exam, and did you find it easier than the PMP exam?
I would say I think the PMP is 4 hours, and this is 3 hours. So ACP is 3 hours, and I think is 120 questions or so. Phil, is that correct? 120 questions. So, did I find it easier? I wouldn't say categorically. What I would say is that the training I had, the masterclass training I had for PMP was very helpful for me to have clear distinction between predictive and agile, and be able to spot where there is a hybrid. And further to that, the ACP class with Roy and Phil now drill deeper into the world of agile, drawing strength from the agile classes in the master class. So that was like a building block. So when we went into the deep dive in the ACP class, the foundation was already there.
Okay.
So we continued where we left off. So that class, master class, the agile component helped prepare me for the exam, in addition to the ACP class. However, the predictive component of the master class was very important in distinguishing the two, for you to understand. So for you who is coming from the predictive background, that means that you are very used to the chemistry of project management. So
Yes.
what you will do is to familiarize yourself with agile concepts, how things run in the agile world. Once you do that and you imbibe agile mindset, you are good.
Okay. Thank you very much, Frank.
Yeah, because it still remains something. It's just the approach. In this world, we do it this way. In this world, it is done this way. You are already used to how it is done in a particular world, which is the traditional side. So you just need to learn the concepts of agile and inculcate that agile mindset in you. I believe you come up tops.
That's fantastic. And I think what we should do, so Mark, my 2 cents will be to get some time with Lovelace and Frank on your calendar, maybe on 2 separate days, and get their perspectives as far as the mindset and just go hyper agile on some of the calls with Frank and just mine as much as you can. I'm sure you get a whole lot of value just trading ideas in a less restricted environment like a classroom. Just come for one of the daily scrums, but plan when you're both going to be on, when you're going to be on. And I would say definitely do that with both of them, because they know the stuff and they're fresh, they're fresh off the block. So
no,
Okay.
It's Loveless. She's
His mind is fresh. You're still fresh, man. You're not even 6 months. What are you talking about?
Loveless is a fresh of Umbeck.
You're just 2 months
You
on the
are
shelf as a
so
PMP.
fresh. Phil is right.
Fresh Frank.
So, but Mark, if there's anywhere we can be of assistance, please reach out. Don't know if you are in the WhatsApp group. My number is there.
I'm not in the WhatsApp group.
Mark, are you?
Yes.
Can you give me your number real quick?
Yes.
Yeah, do that. All right, we got a question for you, Frank, from our friend Lovelace.
So, Frank, how long did you study before you took the ACP exam?
I would say after the class, I was studying like 2 hours a day.
Okay. For how long? Duration?
Maybe for 1 month.
Okay. Good deal. So you already had momentum. And because of the momentum, that's probably why there wasn't a need to study as long.
Yes, and I don't like to study long.
Good deal. Good deal.
Don't like to study long. So
All right.
So anyway, we're planning another class very soon. So for those people who are interested, highly recommend you going down to the Praizion site, go to projectmanagementdoctor.com/PMI ACP and just check out when our next one is. We're planning on this starting sooner than later, so it might be in the next week or two. Have a rather robust schedule because we have people who were not in the masterclass like Frank was. And those people who are not in the masterclass like Frank was, they're going to have to go up that ramp to get solid in Agile, because not everyone can pull off the kind of schedule you, Taji, and Chandra did. It was just because I was working with you guys that I knew you could. Lovelace definitely can pull that off because she was in a masterclass. But folks who are not in a masterclass, they're going to have to first of all go through that conditioning to understand Agile. I mean, some people are still saying Agile is a framework. I'm like, oh my goodness, where did you go for your training? Oh, Agile is a methodology. No. So those folks have a fundamentally flawed, fundamentally flawed problem, and they don't know its mindset, like he just said, Mark. They don't know. So we want to work with those folks who didn't go for a very solid Agile component, because we start off with Agile. So we need to get those folks up to speed. But for those who are interested, just going down to the Praizion site, going down to projectmanagementdoctor.com/PMI ACP, you will come across a page that looks something like this. And just scroll down and get all the details that you need, okay? All right.
I feel people that have problem with not understanding why Agile is a mindset, that means they have not really understood the Agile values. Because the value is saying that whereas we value something on the right, the ones on the left we give pride of place.
Importance.
All right. So individuals' interactions over processes and tools. Does not mean that you're jettisoning processes and tools.
Exactly.
Does not mean you're jettisoning comprehensive documentation. You're just preferring a working software.
Exactly.
Does not mean that you don't do contract negotiation. It's just that you prefer collaborating with customer. Right?
Exactly.
So it's a mindset for you to work with.
Yeah.
I
You hit the nail on the head.
I prefer to respond to change as against following a plan. It's a mindset.
It's
So
a
if
mindset.
you understand those values, you would appreciate why it is a mindset, not a methodology.
Absolutely. And this is why people get sucked into certain traps of certain so-called Agile frameworks, which are wolf in sheep's clothing. But we won't talk about them today. This is a day of celebration. I will leave those for another day for Phil's video. So thank you very much, everyone. Gotta go ahead and say congrats, Frank. Thank you for coming to speak to us. And we look forward to more interactions in the tribe.